angle. Then to Casa Grande over here. So you line up Madera Canyon to that angle there, and then to Casa Grande. And when you put them all together, see if I can find it again. Oh, there's Madera Canyon, right? There's the corner of my eye is all out. Oh, there it is. Circle right there. Okay, got it. Okay. See where it says Casa Grande right there? And you see where Madera Canyon is right there? That means to get to Spirit Peak, which is right up here, you would have, it goes through Casa Grande to get down to Madera Canyon. And I'm trying to show you Casa Grande right there on that dot, which goes to this corner right here, which is Madera Canyon. And why is this alignment so important from Casa Grande to Madera? Why? You go that way, it goes to Tillamook, Oregon. You go this way from Madera Canyon, it goes to Teotihuacan, Mexico. It's the Teotihuacan route, just connecting that to Casa Grande and then up to Spirit Peak. And then you have the route that goes all up to Tillamook, Oregon, to Teotihuacan, Mexico, going that way. And why is this important? Because of this right here. And why is this important over here? Because at 31,109, you'll hit a place called Bisbee, Arizona. And what is that? Bisbee, Arizona? Gold, silver, copper, turquoise. All you had to do is go next door and pick up where you needed to go to Madera Canyon and take us straight to Teotihuacan or Tillamook, and you could send it off the Pacific Ocean from there. But this is basically the layout for Oribe at 35 degrees. There's another one that I have that I'll show real quick, since I'm showing you that one, and I'll give you that one. Everything's based on a ruler, which is really weird. You notice everything I'm doing is with a yardstick or a ruler. Makes life easier that way. Okay, now we're getting to the interesting part. What you're seeing right here is for the 35th degrees latitude for Oribe, for Madera. What you're seeing over here, Oribe is here at the 35th, but what I did, instead of putting at the 35th, I put Madera Canyon at 31 degrees latitude, where Oribe used to be. And when I put Madera Canyon here, this over here from Madera, it shows you in angles. See that angle, that angle, that angle, that angle, that angle? That's all going to Tillamook. And what is it going through to get to there? Casa Grande, Snaketown, Montezuma Castle, and Seligman. Straight up angle, 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 all the way to Tillamook.
And those were basically the cities in ancient times.
The ancient cities that they were trading with. Now you go the other way from Madera Canyon. Look, angle, 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 angle. What are these angles? Those are all angles that are pointing to Teotihuacan. So it's telling you. And on this one, when you get to Madera Canyon, where is it at? 31 degrees latitude, 110 degrees longitude. And what I say about 31,109 for getting your the resources were gold, silver, copper, and turquoise. 31 degrees 109, that's right here. And how do you find it? It's pointing directly to it. And this place is set up to show you the sea routes.
And this is the maze right here. This whole black outline is the maze.
Well, that's why I have both of them together. They're the same, yes. Colleen. Look, that. Except that they're just different. 35 degrees latitude, 31 degrees latitude.
And then this here is where that's the other one.
Yeah, the one that's out of the book that they found in Oribe. Okay, thank you.
So a little bit of soup, it's a bit.
And that one is called Mother and Child.
Well, that's what they call it.
yeah.
It's really this trade chart. See, one is set up for the local Hohokam trade empire from Oribe at 35 degrees latitude. The one that's set from Madera Canyon at 31 degrees latitude is set up to show you Guaymas, a seaport. It's set up to show you the Tiburon Island, which is in the Baja California, how they trade route. Angel Island from Madera over here, all the way to the Matagna Island, which is off the Colorado River down going into the Gulf of California. This shows you all the basic sea routes of how, they're connected. And it works the same way as I showed on this one over here, all on angles. You're going angles and angles and angles. But this one is interesting because what I did on here is I'm showing the trade zones from the equator. The trade zones are 1 to 9 degrees, and then there's another one from 11 to 19 degrees, and one from 20 to 29 degrees. What happened in ancient past, these 11 to 19 degrees people, which were the people in Teotihuacan, took over the 1 to 9 degrees people's trade zone, took over the people 21 to 29's trade zone, which is right to Pacami below us. And then when they were moving up to try to take over our trade zone, they decided they couldn't do it in the Sandia Valley because there was too many villages already here. So they tried to move it to Chaco to take over this trade zone so they could control that, and that. The Civil War broke out, and that's why Chaco has been closed down and emptied since then. But our trade zone is from 31 to 39. 31 to 39, see? The next trade zone is 41 to 49, which is further on up. There's another one at 51 to 59 degrees, further on up. 61 to 69 degrees, way up near Canada and Alaska. And when you get up to 78 degrees, the people at 78 degrees, they trade down to here. Because if you go above 78 degrees,
Well, that's the top of the world, basically.
yeah, you're the one that trade with polar bears, walruses, and seals. And there's nothing but ice and icebergs up there. So basically, all these are the trade zones that are set up globally around the world. If you notice, there's no zeros in them. Why? 0 was reserved for trade between zones. In other words, 29 and 39, this was reserved to trade between the two. So that's why you have to reserve the zeros. That's why there's the equator, there's no 0, there's no 10, there's no 20, there's no 30, there's no 40, there's no 50, there's no 60, because they're reserved for the trade between the trade zones, which was really important.
Oh, so this is territory.
Yeah.
So one group had that trade zone, the next group had that.
Yeah, this is us right here.
And then the zeros were for inner
And then you go up,
tribal trade.
but there's only one at the 40 degrees, which is not reserved for between zones. The 40-degree trade zone was a global trade band that went around the world, which is where they picked up trade globally, just on that one latitude, 40 degrees. Globally.
A global trade band.
Everything up here went down to 40. Everything from down here went up to 40. And then they picked up all the global trade all on this 140-degree latitude round the world. You can go to Sardinia and you're going to find walls at 40 degrees over here that mark out the same thing I'm talking about in the Mediterranean.
You've already shown stuff on the other side of the world. And then I really like this. How that piece of art, which is
Our logo
here,
for our YouTube.
right? So that's the
original that it came from. This is the diagram of it.
This is the diagram of it.
But my own people don't even realize that their own artwork that is laying out our Chinook trade empire, all the way from Nia Bay, which is up here at 48 degrees latitude, Point Grenville at 47 degrees latitude, and then Grays Harbor, which is where Aberdeen, Washington is located, at 46 degrees. And then the Big Mouth, which is us Clatsop, me, I guess that's why we got a big mouth. That's where the Columbia River, the Clatsop
right, the
people.
mouth of the river.
Then you got the heart, the Tillamook. You know what Tillamook means?
What?
The Billies of the Nehalem. It's the Nehalem side of my Clatsop Nehalem. Tillamook is a Nehalem village.
Jeez.
And then you go down from that 44 where the heart is, where Tillamook is. Tillamook is connected to Teotihuacan, which I was saying a little earlier, through here. This map I'll show you a little earlier.
Tillamook, Oregon,
Tillamook,
right on the
Oregon.
coast.
And then you get down here to Rimrock Draw. This is at 43 degrees, and that's 18,000 years old rock shelter that's found in Oregon. And then you get down to Mount McLaughlin in Oregon, which is outside of Klamath Falls, where the Klamath Indians are, which is at the butthole. I don't know why. I feel sorry for them. They're down here at the butthole. But at 42 degrees is the beginning of our trade empire. And how do you do that? 3.25, the indigenous pi, times 13, the sacred number to you Mesoamericans, equals 42.25 degrees north. And what is that number? 42. That's how you read my own classic art. My native people at home don't even know how to read this, how I'm showing it. I guess they still look at it as a spinning wheel or some sort, which it is, was utilized
Kind of like
as.
a compass, if you think about it.
It's no different than the outline of Aztlan. See, this is laid out too. Latitudes.
The outline of Aztlan, he says nonchalantly.
Well, everybody's making like it's a big mythological thing. Aztlan is just another name for the Chinook trade network. I mean, they're one and the same. They've always been one and the same. It's just that the Uto Aztecans lost the meaning of it and turned it into a mythological place, when actuality it was really a centrally located place, the 0 point for the trade network. It wasn't a myth, it was made mathematically precise for trade. What do I know? I'm just the Indian here.
Well, I was going to say, so basically, this maze, which is also in the Man in the Maze there, that's what that is, that's ancient. That is here, and you use this diagram to figure out the layout of latitudes and longitudes, as long as you know where the center is.
Let me finish. I'll explain it all real easy. I'm going to explain how this whole process was. I've seen a square petroglyph, but it was in what would you call the Painted Desert Petrified Forest petroglyphs, but I couldn't locate it, and I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find it. I gave up on it. So I went ahead and did this presentation anyway without it, and I did this one with Oribe, which was really important because of the one for the local Hohokam trade area based on that. So, not knowing that later in one of my books, that it was in the book that it's in stone and located south of Oribe.
And it's right next to the Mastodon petroglyph.
Yeah, next to the Mastodon petroglyph, which is in this book, but not in Oribe. This is in the book. But the main thing is that we're not very smart. You see Eotoi here? What does his shoulders look like?
They're square.
Looks like a block. Yeah. Look at his arms and his head. They look like blocks.
Yep.
What does this look like? It's telling you to turn it into a block form. Eotoi is telling you, even just by his form, that he's shaped like a Lego man, telling you to turn this maze into what he looks like, into the square grid format. And that's all I did. I listened to Eotoi, and I turned it into a grid square format by looking at the maze, basically following directions. not knowing that when I put it together, I was going to find this book, and it was going to verify that all of my teachings that I was doing in the presentation were valid, because it's in stone.
Yeah.
It's in a petroglyph. And I'm telling you, I didn't sneak out there in the middle of the night, in the midnight, with a little chisel, and put it in there before the sun came up, and it's just so people would find it later. No, this was actually etched in stone south of Oribe to tell you to do this. But you know how smart we are.
So when you put Oribe at the center, because Oribe is there, Oribe
Oribe's over
is
there.
over here, and this is just the bigger version of that. The maze is
Then
there,
everything
black, and then Oribe is.
And it all lays out to exact longitudes, exact latitudes, exact latitudes. Exact longitudes, exact latitudes. These are the exact gridded out what you'd find on a GPS,
Right.
and it fits.
And you said there was an Oribe and an old Oribe. Did you say that, or did I hear that? Maybe I don't know what I'm.
No, that was a dream I had, but you
Okay.
don't want to hear about that. You don't want to scare the Hopis.
You're melting my brain right now, though.
Yeah, I don't want to scare Hopis either.
Okay, so
They don't want to know that there used to be a village at the base of the mesa, where there's a village on the top of the mesa. They don't want to know that those ancient spirits are still inside of the mesa and they go in and out at will. They don't want to know that the ancients are still at the bottom of that mesa, even though it's empty and desolate right now.
Right.
But I know.
right.
And they
Well,
know. Big
right.
secret.
Well, we
That was my dream. That
we
there was
had
still
this
there.
show on the Anasazi and Kachina that I took pictures of at Mesa Verde.
Well, we had to settle the Aztlan issue. This is getting ridiculous. It's getting to the point where they're blowing up things looking for Montezuma's gold. And it's pissing me off when they're destroying nature for entertainment purposes only. And, ask me. I could show you where Aztlan is. Ask me. I'll take you there. I don't need to blow anything up. Don't need to turn it into a big TV show. This is culture. It's not entertainment. For educational purposes only.
There you go.
Entertainment? Skinwalker Ranch. Go over there. You want entertainment? Go to all the internet. It's all for entertainment purposes only. You want the truth? I can't even give it away.
All right, Raj.
I'm starting to rant.
Okay.
No, my food's getting cold.
All right.
I got my dinner over here.